Rudy Giuliani definitely wants you to believe that he is not at all concerned about Donald Trump facing any potential legal problems over his involvement in a scheme to hide his affairs from voters in the months leading up to the 2016 election. But I want to be clear, not because he doesn't apparently think that Trump committed any crimes, but just because, how big of a crime was it really? He says nobody got killed, nobody got robbed. I think in 2 weeks they'll start with parking tickets that haven't been paid. Okay, well that is true, we believe that nobody got killed. Certainly people might have been robbed in some of these other crimes. So yeah, it's not murder, that's true, but it turns out that other things are still crimes. And paying off hundreds of thousands of dollars and breaking some of the few campaign finance regulations we actually have in this country isn't really a parking ticket violation either though. And that's sort of a ridiculous thing for any lawyer to say, any prosecutor to say, but in particular Rudy Giuliani, who said that we need to weed out the tiny crimes in New York to stop the big crimes from happening. Oh, he's not concerned about the little crimes anymore because the sort of person committing those little crimes is a little bit different with Donald Trump, huh?
Well, another arguably little crime is, for example, crossing the border without papers. But apparently to them that's, whoa, what do you mean it's a small crime? Well, we gotta have rule of law in this country. Let's rip their families apart and make sure that we do all these vicious things to them. Donald Trump broke the law. I mean, look, my favorite part of the quote is, so in the beginning, as John told you, nobody got killed, nobody got robbed. He says, this was not a big crime. That is the world's worst defense. Going to a judge, if you were on trial and you said, hey judge, look, what did I do? I didn't kill anybody, right? I didn't rob anybody. Yeah, sure it was a crime, but it wasn't a big crime. The judge immediately would go, guilty. You just admitted it was a crime.
The only way I would disagree with you is I think this is the second worst argument. I think that Hatch had a worse one when he said, you can make anything a crime these days. Well, that's an interesting conversation about sort of legal theory, but whether you can make something a crime, this is a crime.
Right.
So
yeah, and the little crimes thing is really the thing that gets me about Giuliani, who really, as mayor, took up every single little crime and made huge things out of it when it affected minority New Yorkers, and that to me is the most ironic part of Giuliani saying this isn't a big crime.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think he thinks about selling loose cigarettes on the streets of New York? Does he think that?
Yeah. Good point.
The reason that I care about this, and I understand that, I mean, look, there's this ongoing cloud of corruption of various forms around Donald Trump, and he apparently has committed so many crimes that we have to track a lot of them. I wish it was simpler. I wish he was a regular president and they had one big scandal or whatever and we could just focus on that. But it turns out he's broken a lot of laws. The reason that this one in particular, that it bothers me, not so much the crime as the attempted defense by Republicans, is, as I alluded to in the intro, we're progressives who want to get money out of politics. We want far, far stronger campaign finance regulations. And we know that there's people who disagree with us, wealthy, well-connected people who want to be able to buy elections. They don't want there to be any of this. And so this is to some extent, in my mind, a test case of, can we effectively invalidate in people's mind the severity of breaking the few campaign finance laws that we have? If you can hand hundreds of thousands of dollars over in the run up to an election to hide stories, effectively donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to a campaign, I mean, what is gonna be left after that? Already the Dinesh D'Souza stuff has been smeared as not being a really serious crime. They want to be able to get away with this stuff. And we as progressives, if we wanna get money out of politics, we can't allow it to just flow out into the public that, campaign finance stuff, is it really a crime? It's not that serious, it's sort of esoteric. No, it's important. It goes to the heart of our political system.
No, I still think we're underplaying it. So in the past, Giuliani has said collusion is not a crime, cementing his reputation as the worst attorney in America. Yet there are many of statutes that are broken. You're just using a different word, right? But you cannot work with a foreign power to influence an election. There's a statute on that. There's statutes on campaign finance violations, etc. It's like, well, this particular word's not in the statute, but you made up that word. Mueller didn't say in any report collusion. The report hasn't even come out yet. Collusion has not been used in any indictment. You made up a word and said, well, I couldn't find it in the statutes. So what, okay? I mean, look, they're trying to do PR, but in a court of law, they would be laughed out of the courtroom, but with handcuffs. And in another instance, Rudy Giuliani famously said, the truth isn't truth. Okay, all right, I mean, that's the world we're in now, right? But I still think out of all those, this was not a big crime, takes the cake. I mean, you should be disbarred for that. You cannot walk into court and say, my defense of my client is, yeah, but it wasn't a big crime. You just admitted that he did it. I mean, you couldn't serve your client worse. So the most accurate thing anybody ever said about the Trump administration, and it was accidental, was Scaramucci, when he said the fish rots from the head down. And he was referring to other people like Steve Bannon, et cetera. But man, that nails it for Trump administration. Who would hire a clown like Rudy Giuliani?
You want to?
Donald Trump would, of course. I would never hire Rudy Giuliani. What a incompetent imbecile.
Yeah.
I mean, if I hired a lawyer and he walked into court and said, yeah, so what, he did it, but is it a big deal? I'm like, oh my God, I fire him. I fire him immediately.
Yeah.
In a way, Cohen's a better lawyer than Giuliani because at least he's recognizing the seriousness of what the president did.
Yeah.
A little bit more clownishness before we move on. Rudy Giuliani has been mocked over what he said, and so he issued a correction that in tweet form, which does not contain a link to offensive stuff about Donald Trump. He nailed it this time. I don't know if you saw that when he had the little period thing. Anyway, he says, correction, I didn't say payments were not a big crime, which he did.
He literally said that.
He said that, literally. I have said consistently that the Daniels and McDougal payments are not crimes and tweeted a great article yesterday making that point. He did put a space there, so he almost had the mistake. If it isn't a witch hunt, why are they pursuing a non-crime? Okay, well, with that last statement, by the inverse property of Giuliani logic, it is a crime, so by your definition, it apparently is not a witch hunt, in fact.
Yes, and look, they can argue, and they have been arguing, again, in the court of public opinion, that truth isn't truth, crimes aren't crimes, cooperating with law enforcement should be illegal, that's the thing Donald Trump said. Okay, and I get it, some percentage of the country, anywhere ranging from 25 to 40%, live in an alternate universe where logic, facts, et cetera, don't apply. But in our courts, they don't live in an alternate universe, they live in this universe. And if you go to court and you say, yeah, I committed the crime, but truth isn't truth. The judge goes, yeah, okay, that's interesting, guilty, right. Immediately, guilty. It's not a hard question. You just told me you committed a crime, but you wish it wasn't a crime. Sad day for you, right? Yeah. And by the way, this main thing that they keep going back to, which is, well, I mean, even if it was a crime and he did do it, he didn't know it was illegal. Hey, good luck, you try that and see how that turns out for you.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Officer, I didn't know going 100 miles an hour was against the law. I didn't know. See, okay. Oh, Mr. Officer, I didn't know doing cocaine in public was illegal. I mean, that's I think more on you than me. Why didn't you tell me?
It's like with Michael Flynn, where they're saying, well, he didn't know that lying to that you had to be that truthful with the FBI. How do you not know that? Even if he wasn't a lawyer and there wasn't a lawyer present, you know that you have to tell the truth to the FBI, that that's illegal to lie to the FBI.
And everybody knows this, don't they? I mean, it's not because I went to law school. Ignorance is not an excuse. Of course you have to know the laws. You can't say, well, golly gee, nobody told me I couldn't punch that guy in the face and take his wallet. I mean, my lawyer told me it was wrong. He didn't tell me it was illegal. I guess that's on him, isn't it? Trump literally made that argument. Oh, dude, it's my lawyer's responsibility. No, it's every citizen's responsibility to not break the law. Most of us don't even have lawyers. We don't have people walking around saying, hey, don't rob people, don't kill people, don't rape people, right?
And if you didn't know it was illegal, why did you work so hard to cover it up? I mean, that's...
And lie about it for over a year.
And lie about it and lie about it and lie about it as if it didn't happen, even though it happened. And now you're saying, well, it happened, but I didn't know it was illegal. And you work too hard to cover it up if that's the case.
You know what, that's a great point. And I hadn't thought of it that way. Why don't you just come out and go, oh yeah, of course. I ordered people to pay off Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal because I slept with them and I thought that's embarrassing and that'll hurt my campaign.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know, why would you hide it? Especially Donald Trump, who's the guy who doesn't hide anything, right? I mean, accidentally. He lies all the time, but he'll just blurt things out. Why didn't you say it? Because you knew.
The mark of a totally normal, fine, not illegal financial transaction is that you route it through a shell company.
That's true.
Yeah. If you thought it was perfectly legal, why the shell company?
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.